Boom! What's up, freaks, friends, humans, lunatics, upright bipedal Homo sapiens, or whatever preferred nomenclature that's out there? I can't keep track of the various terms that people prefer to be spoken to as. Okay? So I'm just going to say human, or bipedal, upright, person, individual. That's as best as I can do. So I hope you're doing well. I hope that for some reason or another this day has not grabbed you around the neck and drug you to the ground. I hope that you haven't allowed that to happen today. I hope that instead you've chosen to force this day to do what you'd prefer to do. That's sort of a weird idea, right? Cultivating your own destiny, or however, there's a million different ways that people say it. But I think it might be true. I think that to some degree, we are culpable or responsible for our environment. But that's tough to say to the individual who loses a spouse, or, somebody who loses a loved one on that day. That day didn't go their way. So then I can't imagine what it is that person has done in that day to anywhere near justify or deserve that kind of difficulty or hardship or hurt or challenge or whatever. It's tough. Recently that's something that we've all been facing in our community, is the loss of someone and how that feels. And we're not the only one. There's people experiencing loss all around the country. And not just that, but change. Change is inevitable. Change is actually one of the main characteristics of our people. By people, I mean upright bipedal Homo sapiens. Like, change is sort of what we do. That's sort of our thing. That's our bag. Like, that's what we're into, right? We change. We metamorphosize. We change. And so this is another change. It's a difficult change. It's a challenge. It's exceptionally difficult. I will say that. But what I would say is, if someone was to say, this is too difficult, this is too challenging, I can't handle it, I would say, okay, well, let's just chat about that for a second. You say it's too difficult. You say it's too hard. You say you can't handle it. You say it's just too much. It's over the top. It's just too much. You don't understand what I'm going through. Okay. I'm listening. I understand that it's tough. I get it. I dig it. I do. I'm sorry. I'm with you, okay? And I'm sure you think that what you're going through right now is just the biggest world of crap you can imagine. But I would be ecstatic to introduce you to some people who are going through a world of crap that you would not even be able to fathom in your worst nightmare. Now, why would that be helpful? Why would that be important, Tim? Why would it be helpful to know that someone else is going through something more challenging than what you're going through? Because they're going through it. They're not giving up. They're going through something, this other human being that's on this planet. They're going through something that is 10 million times harder than what you could dream of, and they're going through it. They haven't given up yet. It's interesting, isn't it? How so many people across the globe can be going through things that I couldn't imagine going through, that are just the worst, most challenging, difficult things in the world. And oh my gosh, it's so hard, it's so difficult, so challenging, losing a loved one or having an experience, it's all these different things. It's so challenging, it's so difficult, it's some illness or whatever it is. But the truth is, here's what I know. I know that if I can just take a quick second and gain just even the smallest amount of perspective, just the smallest amount of perspective can help me appropriately juxtapose my options up against what I'm going to do. Compare the two. Let's see. What are my options and what am I going to do? What are my options and what am I going to do? Sit rep. It's a military term. It's also something that if you Google or play Call of Duty, you've probably seen it. What's the situation right now? What are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? What's our course of action? And then what's our plan B? What's our plan C? What's our contingent? What's our backup? What's our triplets for our quadruple backups? when I was in the military, one of the most common things I would do is I wasn't a fantastic soldier by any means. I just was an average grunt, straight leg infantry guy. So I don't by any means want to ever make it sound like I was Billy Badass in the military, because I wasn't. I did what I needed to do, and sometimes had difficulties and other times I didn't. I won't tell you how many times I was in E1 unless you ask me really hard, and then I'll tell you. So when we would tie our 550 cord, we'd have our straps over our M4s. In my case, it was a saw, but we'd have our straps, and on each end of the strap, you'd have 550 cord attaching it, right? The 550 cord is this green cord that has the white gut string in it, right? And what you do is you pull the guts out of that 550 cord, and then you burn each end, and you can make some really excellent tie-offs for different things. Like if you don't want to lose your light or your wallet or your keys or whatever it is, you can just tie it off with some 550 cord and then burn the end. And because it's made of this plasticky fabric sort of fiber, it melts and then becomes a raw end. But one time I was out on a mission, moving around, working, and boy, howdy, did I lose the so we had a pack that I had my batteries for my NODs, my night operation things, basically the things that you put down in front of your eyes so you could see at night. And we had this extra pack of AA and AAA batteries, and we were responsible for these batteries as much as we were responsible for the actual device that we were looking through. Now, both of them were exceptionally expensive, I'm sure, because these batteries were not just your average AAA, AA batteries. These were some crazy military-grade batteries, right? So they were very expensive, very difficult to replace, on top of the fact that they were 550 cord tied down to the inside of my pocket. We were rolling around, moving, I don't know how it happened, but it came out. Come sunset, I needed my night operation devices. I needed to be able to see what was going on at night, just like the rest of my teammates could, so that we could shoot, move, communicate, and do what we needed to do as an infantryman. But I couldn't see because my batteries went out, and I bet you guessed, the battery pack was gone. Couldn't find it. Frustrating, quite frustrating indeed. Couldn't find the battery pack. I'm on a mission. I now have to go up to my teammate and ask for his pair of spare battery pack so that I can operate my device. Now he's down his backup, so when his go down, it just goes down the chain, and the term poop rolls downhill is seen most evidently and clearly in a unit or platoon or fire team where one of the elements in that fire team are not operational. They're not operating functionally. Let me tell you something. I've never done more push-ups in my life than I did when I got back to my combat housing unit, and my first sergeant laid into me for what felt like a lifetime, for how much of a piece of crap I was for leaving my battle buddy on the battlefield. My battle buddy in his mind was my battery pack, because it should have been closer than my battle buddy. That's what he said. Very, very reasonable point he made. Excuses. Private Locklear, listen to me. I don't want to hear your excuses. I don't need to hear why what you think you did was right. I don't want to hear why what you did was the best decision. I want to hear why it was stupid. I want to hear why it was wrong so that we can turn face and then we can move on from this counseling session and you can get the right training on how to appropriately tie your 550 cord, Private Locklear. You see, and it didn't matter to him why I did what I did. It didn't. It wasn't, why'd you do that? Nope. That's living in the past. This cat was about living in the future. And this dude did not give a rat's butt about anything I had to say other than, Roger that, First Sergeant, tracking. No excuse, First Sergeant, no excuse. That's what he wanted to hear, and more push-ups and hearing the dropping of sweat hitting the ground. That's all he wanted to hear. That's it, nothing else. Me doing push-ups. Me doing push-ups and sweat hitting the ground and me explaining to him why my battery pack was gone was not interesting to him. He didn't want to know why it was lost. He just wanted to know what I was going to do about it. And that is push-ups and apologize. No excuses, First Sergeant. No excuses. Were you appropriately trained to tie your 550 cord, Private Locklear? I was, First Sergeant. Then why did you lose it? See, no, he didn't ask me that. That's the kind of question I would ask as a parent. And I'm telling you, I'm starting to think that maybe that's a foolish decision. It doesn't matter why the child did what it did. It doesn't matter why the coworker did what it did. And it doesn't matter why the individual that you're holding a grudge against did what they did. It really doesn't matter why, does it? I mean, you might think it matters why, because you might think that it can help impact what you are or aren't going to do. But let me drop some science on you right now. I never found that lost pack of batteries. You hear me? I never found them. They were lost in combat, written off. Supply wasn't happy. I had to pay money. I got in trouble. It wasn't fun. Fact is, though, never found the battery pack. The loss that you experience is still a loss. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. It's a loss. Pretending like it's anything other than that is foolish, it's a facade, and it's an excuse. It's an attempt to lessen the blame. It's an attempt to take away from you the culpability that you have for the thing that you did that was wrong, or the things that you have done that are wrong. I'm not saying living in the past is fantastic. In fact, I'm saying that's a mistake. Why'd they do that? Why'd they do that? Why do you still care? Bill, Dave, Frank, Sally, Joe, Sue, why you still care so much? Why are you wrapped up in the axle so much about what somebody else did so long ago? Let it go. Let me tell you something. They probably don't give a crap about you. You are probably giving it more attention than them. I don't even know what it is. I'm just sort of pulling it out of my butt. But I can imagine it's something similar. Let me tell you something too. My teammates in my platoon, in my firing squad, let me tell you something, man. They were not happy with me because my squad leader, who was a specialist at the time, he got smoked too by my platoon sergeant. You see how this stuff rolls down? Okay? Right? Platoon sergeant wasn't going to go to me. First sergeant took care of me. Platoon sergeant went to my squad leader. Squad leader said, "No excuses, Sergeant. No excuses at all. Why was your soldier not properly squared away before leaving the wire?" No excuses, Sergeant. They're really, and you know what, that's not just a mantra. It becomes something that privates often say in the military. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but it's not just a mantra. It really is a truism. No excuses. Were you appropriately trained how to do the task? Yes. Did you understand how to appropriately do what you were trained to do? Yes. Have you done it before? Yes. Then why wasn't it finished before? That's a question that doesn't matter. That's a question that doesn't matter. I'm telling you, I never once had a first sergeant, platoon sergeant, or squad leader ask me, "Why'd you do that?" They don't give a crap. You did it. Now let's move on. First of all, I'm smoking you till you can't think straight. For the military folk, for the non-military folk, that means you're going to do push-ups, squats, front back goes, and flutter kicks until you can't think straight and you vomit your brains out. For the jiu-jitsu friends, it's like a warm-up times 10. With the fear element of getting struck. See, that's another thing too. It's really about fear. When you say, "Well, why'd you do that?" Because what you're doing is you're trying to build up like a reason to really lay into them. Why'd you do that? Who do you think you are? Right? That's what that boils down to. It's an excuse. So no more excuses. No more games. No more garbage. No more. Quit making excuses. Quit telling folks the reason why you're going to do what you're going to do. And what I think you should do instead is just do you. Like, whatever it is you have to do, go ahead and do it. But worry a lot less about why people do what they do or why people have done what they did. It's over. It's done. Don't lessen the blame. That's part of the reason I love jiu-jitsu so much. I have the opportunity to engage my body and give myself the freedom to tap. Never before has there ever been seen or existed a better way to keep yourself humble than jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. So that's my humble plug for jiu-jitsu. There's no excuse to not do something to engage your body and mind. No excuse. As you can hear myself, I'm getting out of the car here. You know why I'm getting out of the car and jingling my keys? It's because I am going into the gym, because I'm going to do some sauna, some yoga, I'm going to shower, come home, stretch, and then do some jitsu with my wonderful bride. Listen, you guys, you humans, you gals, you upright bipedals, everybody else in between, have a fantastic evening, and we will talk very soon.